What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Brand New, and honey, I am back in the building. This time, honey, I'm back with a Love and Marriage Huntsville Extra, honey. This is the video where we will be talking about narcissism. We will be talking about Melody and Martell and their trauma bond, you guys. So without further ado, honey, I'm going to play some audio and I will be in and out with my commentary.
At the subject of narcissistic abuse syndrome. And that's, a fancy way of saying it's the dysfunction. I would define it like this. Narcissistic abuse syndrome is the dysfunction of the narcissist having such an impact on the victim that it changes the victim for the worse. It's when the buffoonery and the tactics of the narcissist begins to have such a weighty impact on your life that it changes you for the worse. You begin to develop into a person that you and probably your family can't recognize. It's the impact of living under the constant onslaught of narcissistic abuse. And this, of course, again, is a subject that is best, if you really want to dig deeper, you probably would do well to search out a psychologist, a therapist. I'm neither. Nor am I even a professional counselor, but I am a pastor, and I am a man, and I'm a student of life. And one thing I've learned is that over the years, the Bible, this Bible that I've preached from, talks more about narcissist and narcissistic abuse, maybe more so than any other document, any other religious document. I haven't read all of the religious documents, so maybe, but I know that there's a lot of information in the Bible, indirectly and sometimes directly, that speaks to this horrendous reality that we live in a world that is filled with people who have no capacity to love you back and will drain you for everything that you have. They will use all of your emotional supply, your financial supply, your sexual supply, whatever it is you're offering, they will use it up and do not have the capacity, nor do they desire to have the capacity to give it back. And so I think that these subjects, or this subject in particular, is necessary. I really do, because I see a lot of people in the church who are struggling from narcissistic abuse in these so-called relationships that they're in, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they don't have a context for what they're going through. Nobody has a context for, loving a person with all that you have and that person turning out to be your worst enemy. Nobody has a context for, giving a person everything and that person does everything they possibly can to destroy your life. Nobody has a context for that. And so I think when I deal with these issues, it helps a lot of people who are searching for answers, especially in the church, but not exclusively the church, in the world in general. People who are searching for answers, it helps them to find some closure within themselves. And that's really the healthiest kind of closure. It's the closure that you find within yourself, not having to go outside and rely or depend on another person to participate in your process. But I've been asked the question, and we're talking about narcissistic abuse syndrome. What happens to the victim of the abuser, and how the person is changed? And we're going to look at just a few of these points today. But I've been asked the question, relative to soul ties. Why is it that there are some relationships that in our past that we involved ourselves in. It ended, and parties involved went their separate ways. But then there's this one or two persons that is in the history, or maybe one is still present, that just seem to be much more difficult, almost seeming to be impossible to get that person out of your spirit. And the question is, why is that? Why is it that one relationship or two or three relationships from the past, we mutually split and we went our separate ways, and that was the end of it. But then there's that one person that maybe didn't even treat me well. And there's an attachment that I have to that person that I can't understand. Well, as I've been studying, the psychologists would call it a trauma bond. It's when a person resets your personal standard, resets your personal standard, or it's where a person resets your it's where a person, a trauma bond is where a person resets your personal standard by intentionally inflicting so much abuse, misuse, and disrespect that your own self-respect has been diminished.
And we have seen that time and time again here on Love and Marriage Huntsville. When we were first introduced to Melody and Martell, they seemed like a very loving couple and super ambitious. They had the beautiful children. They had it all. And then Martell begins having his affair with Coleslaw. And we know that Melody knows about this lady, and she takes it upon herself to have yet another baby for this man. And she's aware that he's been fooling around with this other woman for over, 5 years? Okay. And a lot of you will argue and say, oh, yeah, but that was her husband. And, I understand that. I done been in love time and time again, honey. Okay. Don't nobody know like Miss Robinson. But I think she reset her personal standard when she did that. I knew once she had that baby with him, and they was acting all lovey-dovey and, I knew Martell was not going to stop cheating, because he saw that as, oh, you know about this other woman? Oh, and you go have another baby for me, and we working things out. Oh, okay, I'm going to keep getting my little side of coleslaw on the side. And, really, guys, when it comes down to it, Melody sent Martell the wrong message when she did that. Okay, so, but that's neither here nor there. They got the beautiful baby, little Milani. That baby is too cute. But, what I'm saying is it just really made things look bad to me. Because to me, you don't have a baby in the middle of a rocky marriage. You just, you can't do that. Can't do that and then think things are going to work out in your favor. And we see that, it didn't.
And you get to a place where you have this attachment to this person because psychologically you're in a race to win that individual's approval. And I call that the approval trap. And you don't really understand what's going on. But there are people in this world that get involved with you who intentionally plant themselves in your life to destroy you. Mm-hmm. This is real. And there's some relationships that just don't work. And again, two parties go their separate ways. But then there are these demonic connections where people actually strategize to twist your mind up and to tie your life up. And these individuals, in most cases, are narcissists, who are users, who are emotional vampires.
Which is what martell holt is. Martell hook-headed holts.
And they use you up to the point that you don't feel like you deserve better than them. And they'll even make you believe that they are the only persons in the world that may ever want you.
Now, how many times have we heard on this show, we've heard Melody say that Martell has told her that nobody else would want her. Nobody, wants her with 4 kids. We've even heard that same sentiment from Miss Wanda. Oh, ain't no other man go treat you good.
Knew about it. You knew about it. He was messing around with the same little coleslaw woman, whoever she is. I don't know why I got the coleslaw.
You follow her on Instagram. You call her. Told her she's beautiful.
Wait. I'm just.
I saw it as a side. You saying you didn't have a side in your marriage?
I'm gone.
You ain't gonna run away. Wait. You're not gonna run away from this one. You're not gonna run away from this one.
Okay.
What I'm telling both of you guys, I'm not trying to put you back together. I'm not. But I want you to recognize what you're doing.
With somebody that didn't give you no respect.
Okay, you think somebody will give you any more respect with 4 kids?
I won't know. What do you think 4 kids?
I'm asking you a question. Do you think that there's someone else out there that'll give you more respect with those 4 kids? Really, Nelly? They're not going to be a perfect guy.
Oh, that's right.
They're not going to be a perfect guy. And they're going to tell you that they're not going to cheat.
Yeah.
Because men out there, they doing it all the time.
All right, y'all. You better reconcile. Miss Wanda is funny because she speaks with no shame, honey. But y'all get what Miss Robinson, honey, the point she trying to make. That's how people, that's how these men want you to feel, that nobody else would want you. You got women like, Miss Wanda to second that emotion.
The Bible says in Proverbs 6:23 through 27, "For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman." Listen to what it says. "Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids, her flattery. But by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. And the adulteress," listen to this wording, "and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned?" He says, an adulteress will hunt for the precious life. There are times that you think that you're engaging a relationship when it's really just a game. That they are the hunter and you are the game.
And that's how it was for Martell and Melody. He didn't take that marriage seriously. Okay, he took that woman for granted, and he knew he was going to keep sleeping with coleslaw. This is what they do. They feel like they are entitled to cheat on you, to lie to you. And a lot of times, and I told y'all when it comes to this Love and Marriage Huntsville show, it looks like a lot of the men on the show, probably I think all of them kind of have this mentality where it's just like, my wife is my slave. I very rarely on this show see the woman being seen as a partner, somebody that is an equal, to the husband. I don't really see that on the show. These men are sneaky. They are conniving. They make decisions without their wives even knowing, and then will smile and laugh about it in the next scene. I cannot.
And you don't realize it until your life has spiraled down into an abyss, to a place that you can't even recognize yourself or where you are, never thinking that you would ever go so low. Mm-hmm. It's because there are demonic people in this world who actually hunt for your life. There are signs that one is suffering from narcissistic abuse syndrome. And the first that we will look at today is that you experience, psychologists say, dissociation as a survival method or mechanism. You experience dissociation as a survival mechanism. You feel, in other words, emotionally and physically detached from your environment or your self-consciousness. You know, your principles, your standards. You feel disconnected from all of that as the result of having been in such a toxic relationship.
That also takes me back to Melody driving all the way to, where was she at? Did she drive from Huntsville to Ohio? Is that what they said on that interview with Funky and Tasha and Storm? All of that, like going all the way to Coleslaw's house to confront her about sleeping with your husband, that's out of order. That's too much. You shouldn't be exposed like that. You shouldn't be going to that woman's house asking her, well, what's going on with you and my husband? And like, guys don't ever do stuff like that. Okay? And even after she got some type of understanding with Coleslaw, what did Coleslaw do? She kept sleeping with the woman's husband. Okay, so sometimes silence is golden, okay? You could do more with silence than you could ever do by speaking. I'm pretty sure that girl probably thought, oh, well, you know, his wife is calling me and we cool. I think they talked on more than one occasion, too. That's too much. And it comes off like you trying to be cool with the girl. I get Melody was upset, and I get that hindsight is 20/20, you know? We all look back at things and, you know, we look where we made a fool of ourselves. So, yeah, I just couldn't ever do something like that. But, you know, you do those things when you're in love with somebody and you are unaware that they are a narcissist.
Dissociation is a psychological experience in which people feel disconnected from their sensory experience or their sense of self or personal history. It's where you entered into this relationship knowing exactly who you are, knowing exactly what you wanted, but now as a consequence of having lived under such abuse for an extended period of time, now you don't really know who you are. You don't really know what you desire. You don't really know what your standards are. And you're just simply functioning like a robot that's being controlled by a mad scientist.
Come on.
You're using dissociation as a survival mechanism. You just kind of go emotionally, psychologically numb to the world just to survive, just to get by, because of the pain that you experience as a consequence of living with this individual. 1 Timothy 4:1-2 says, now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy. Now listen to what it says here. Having their conscience seared with a hot iron. In other words, what I firmly knew, my consciousness, my standards, my principles, my values, my goals, as a consequence of dealing with people who have seducing and deceptive spirits, my conscience has been seared. Now I no longer have a pulse for what's right or wrong. One portion of scripture talks about how, you know, a person becomes reprobate, where they don't know the difference between right or wrong. And this is what? This speaks to severe cases of dissociation, where you have gotten so involved with this diabolical character and all of his or her tactics that they have brought you to a place that you no longer have a pulse for who you are, where you're going, what's important to you, what's the priority, what matters or not. The second thing is that you live, when you're suffering from narcissistic abuse syndrome, you live as a people pleaser. This is where you live your life to please people. You live your life.
And we see some of that, guys, with Tisha. Okay, and y'all know Marceau is a narcissist, and she didn't put her husband on a pedestal, those kids, and she has abandoned herself. Okay, and she wonders why she's always confused and always unhappy.
You live your life strategically to avoid repercussions. You don't want, you find yourself doing a song and dance for people, trying to please them so as to avoid triggering anyone, because you've been under the gun and you've been under the pressure of the gaze of a narcissist, the onslaught of a narcissist. And so now you have been, even if you're away from the narcissist, you have been reprogrammed to live your life in a fashion that you never want to trigger people. So you've been triggered, you've been trained psychologically to pay attention to what everybody else is desiring or needing from you, and you seek to please everybody. And whenever you seek to please everybody, you always end up miserable. But when you have suffered narcissistic abuse syndrome, you live your life as a people pleaser, especially if you're still with the narcissist. You find yourself doing everything you can to please them, to keep them happy, to keep the environment calm, not understanding that their outbursts are not really triggered by you. Those outbursts are planned to keep you in, frazzled, to keep you in a state of confusion.
Look, I said...
But you said she was incapable. I didn't say that.
You said ask me, and I said, what did you say?
Shut your mouth.
Quit trying to talk over me and Ricky.
Shut up.
Well, you shut up.
Shut the all right. Keep with your little rinky dinks on it.
With my what now? Rinky dink what?
Never mind, man. You being too disrespectful. Stop.
No, I'm being too disrespectful.
No.
Do you have a problem with me singing? Because you've been calling me Beyonce since I've been out here tonight.
No.
And calling you KD's, Lord Chestnut, nobody.
What the hell is going on? Oh, Lord.
So why the hell are you calling me Beyonce? What is that about?
Because you sing it
What
and
is that
she
about?
sings.
What is going on? I mean, I slept pretty good. I know you walked up in here last night.
But, everything good, though?
I said you walked up in here last night.
Everything's good,
What
though?
made you walk up in here last night? I was asleep.
Well, I guess, came to do the same thing I'm doing again. Apologizing, for real.
Who does Martell think he's talking to? He ain't tried to come in my room at no 1:30 in the morning to apologize. I know exactly what that fool was after, but Martell, those days are long gone. You need to work on your real apology. I feel like I never really try to approach you to have some big blowout that's never in my head that we finna get into.
I felt that, but it's okay, though.
The conversation started out very calm yesterday.
Right.
But what I've learned is there are triggers for me when it comes to you, and you probably know that already.
Triggers for both of us, good Lord.
Okay, and we may need to talk about those. So one of the triggers for me that has been used consistently is my children. You paint me negatively when it comes to them. So last night, when you made the comment that we have 4 children, that triggered me.
It did?
Absolutely, because
And see, he says things on purpose to get her to engage with him in a negative way. And, she keeps taking the bait.
Like, why would you think I don't have in my heart and my soul that I got 4 kids? I pushed them out, didn't I?
Yeah, it's not.
So
It's not about that.
But that's what you said. It's hypocritical to me because you saying all of that, and to me, I'm like, but you knew we had 4 kids long before now.
I don't want to have to argue like we're doing now. We had full-blown arguments for no reason.
Something's wrong with you, and I've told you that in the past.
That's what's up.
Even at times when you would call.
Well, listen, I'm going to step out, and we waiting on you.
But I wasn't done
We waiting
talking.
on
Well, I'm going to stay in here until I get done talking.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. As you know, like I said, the children are a trigger. Second of all, what I'm doing with my career, I also don't appreciate you having things to say about that. Let me give you an example. Another trigger that happened last night.
Okay.
So whenever I'm sitting, I'm like, yeah, I was like, okay, so, well, I've been pretty busy. So I just finished shooting my video. That bull. Now, here's my issue with that. You, Martell, actually have written me and told me congratulations on my song.
You asked about.
I don't know about the song.
You did.
I said congratulations.
It was on the song when I dropped it. You said congratulations on that.
I ain't saying the song.
The day it dropped.
But go ahead, I got it. Go.
Secondly, you complained about me not inviting you to the single release party.
Listen, I want you to continue to elevate. I want you to do great in life, no matter if it's through music, through acting, through anything. I've always wanted you to do great. I'm talking now.
But you, I was done. Like,
you be quiet.
I wasn't done.
I ain't answering that question. I'm answering it.
How do you come into a room to apologize, but you end up arguing? Okay? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm gone. Hey, look, we're going to see you outside.
That's okay. So anyway, you want to be on some like that bull. I don't say for all the stupid stuff I see you doing. Don't insult what I'm doing because I'm not going to insult what you're doing. I should have said a whole lot about you and your side chick.
Now, he didn't actually walk out, okay? And then he comes back in. We remember how this went, honey.
Boy, please, I ain't no side chick and I ain't going to be no side chick. I don't know what you're thinking.
You the side chick. And he had a fiance.
Concocted. All of that is scripted in the mind of the narcissist, and you're living trying to please the narcissist at every turn. But the Bible says in Proverbs 29, 25, and 26, the fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment comes from the Lord. When you begin to understand these divine principles, that you don't have to fear man when God is on your side, and that man is not your source. People are not your source. The narcissist is not your source. The world is not your source. The Lord God Almighty is your source. Listen to what this individual says. You may also extend your people-pleasing behavior outside of the abusive relationship, losing your ability to be spontaneous or assertive while navigating the outside world, especially with people who resemble or are associated with your abuser and the abuse. Isn't that the case with many of us now? That because you've sat and you've endured so much trauma and you've absorbed that pain, now you don't know how to assert yourself on the job. Now you no longer know how to be an individual within a group. You just find yourself flowing with the group, and whatever pleases the leader or the leaders of the group, that's what you do, even if it's against your own morals, even if it's against what you really desire for yourself. But you've been conditioned by the trauma to be a people pleaser. Thirdly, you sacrifice your emotional, and it kind of bleeds out of point 2. You sacrifice your emotional, physical, and sometimes even financial needs to please the abuser. You take everything that is important and necessary for you, you put it to the back burner to make certain that you satisfy the abuser. You get into ridiculous levels of debt. You spend all of your resources trying to please the abuser. You do things that are not physically healthy for you. You're sacrificing your own physical well-being because you live to meet the other person's needs and desires. You're living to meet the abuser's needs and desires. And the thing about it is, your family can tell you, your friends can tell you, you cannot hear it. It's not until you really have a wake-up call, and usually that wake-up call is when this person has completely and totally depleted you, and then they leave out of your life, and you have no choice but to stare into the mirror of reality, and you realize that you've sacrificed everything that was needful and important to you for a person that didn't even deserve a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. Listen to what the Bible says, because, again, you live your life to meet the other person's needs and desires, sacrificing yourself. Sometimes you'll even find yourself sacrificing your own children to meet the needs of some narcissist. You find yourself sacrificing the needs of your elderly parents for the narcissist, or, and it comes in many different forms. But listen to what the Bible says in Acts chapter 16, verses 16 through 19. It says, "And it came to pass, as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying," fortune reading, stuff like that. "The same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, These men are the servants of the Most High God, which show unto us the way of salvation. And this did she many days. But Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the spirit that was in the girl, I command thee in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her. And he came out the same hour. And when her masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers." So they were using this girl to make money off of her whatever performance. This is, and clearly these are narcissists. People that would take a physically inferior person and subjugate them to the point, her to the point that she would be used up and down the streets to bring them gain. And when the girl was set free from that demonic spirit, they got angry and really wanted to kill Paul and Silas. That's a depiction of what the relationship looks like between you and the abuser. They are simply using you while you're sacrificing everything for them. They are using you while you are sacrificing everything for them. Some of you are still in it right now. And if you
Started cheating, I think that's what you're talking about.
Of course you know.
You wasn't doing what you were supposed to do.
And what was that?
I called you. You didn't have time to talk to me, so what were you doing?
What was I doing?
I always complain. So I'm like, hey, why you can't talk to me? I don't got time. I ain't got time.
I'm out of this meeting.
Me too. I had meetings. It doesn't matter. It's about having time for your spouse.
You pushed me. You got me more involved, doing more with the company, with the community, with everything else. And it was a setup for the okie doke. Because there's no way
you
I can
have
talk
so
to
many
you all
friends.
the time.
I just know male stop doing certain things. Sexual?
Hey, what about sexual? What did I change?
You wouldn't satisfy me.
How?
But period.
I wasn't satisfying you sexually?
No.
Did you ever talk to me about that? You never said to me, you're not satisfying me.
When we in the bed, I'm saying, babe, you ain't gonna do this for me? No. You ain't gonna do that for... No. What you think that is?
Okay.
That's disappointment.
Okay.
To your husband to tell him no for anything.
Does that open the door for you to be able to step out and do what you want to do?
Of course.
Okay, so all those years when there were certain things I was telling you that I wanted you to experience more sexually and do more and you didn't want to, should I have just stepped out? Just
I
asking.
can't recall that.
You can't, of course, you never can recall what you don't want to recall.
What, talk freaky? Okay, I don't want to talk freaky.
Yeah, you don't want that, so you open up that door. You have to learn and know the trophy that you have.
Okay,
when
but
you have a woman,
being a complete trophy if she's not taking care of her husband.
You got somebody who can talk to you all the time, who's cooking for you, who's satisfying you sexually. Why don't you take your ass on and be with her?
I don't want to.
Well, that's a damn shame.
You know what that's called?
What?
Filling that void. She felt that void.
Well, it sounds like you think you may just need two women.
Well, back in the day, in the Bible days, whatever, they had multiple women, so why not?
They're using you while you are sacrificing everything for them. Some of you are still in it right now. And if you look at the so-called relationship, you're just being used. They're using you, and you're simply sacrificing everything important for them. The fourth thing, signs of narcissistic abuse syndrome. You don't trust anyone. You know, when you've lived, with a narcissist and you've gone through the song and dance and you've been gaslighted where they make you think you're out of your mind and they bring you through all of these hoops and all of these changes, what happens is you get to a point after that relationship that you become paranoid about people. And even if you're still in that narcissistic relationship, you become paranoid about people in general. You become paranoid about relationships in general, to the point that you are no longer healthy. You're no longer emotionally healthy enough to actually embrace a person on a level of trust or having a trusting relationship. So this means what? Many times you can't develop great friendships. You can't nurture great relationships with your family. You find yourself withdrawing from your family, because when a person has brought you through the ringer and has made you almost concede that you're crazy, you've lost your mind, you find yourself on edge with everybody, not trusting anybody. You become paranoid about people. And some of you are there right now. You're just paranoid. You know, your social skills have just gone down the drain because you're afraid of people now. That's a good way of putting it. You're afraid of people now because you don't trust people anymore, because you gave your heart to somebody that stumped on it. Mm-hmm. And so now you're in a posture where you don't trust anyone. And the Bible says in Proverbs 18 and 19, a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. What is that saying? When a person has been hurt by another, they set up walls around themselves. They wall themselves in. They bar themselves in to keep themselves safe and to keep all of the other unsafe people out. And when you struggle with narcissistic abuse syndrome, you'll find your relationships dwindling.
And I done been through that. You just get to the point, guys. You just don't trust anybody and their intentions. This could be coworkers at work, people in your family that you was once close to. You don't really want to open up to them. Maybe, you know, a new neighbor moves in on your street, and at one point, you know, you were that friendly person that would want everyone to feel welcome to the neighborhood. Maybe you just shut down. You don't even speak to neighbors. I done been through all of that, you know, so I keep telling y'all, everything that I am playing for you all, Miss Robinson done been through it. It's very painful. But you can, you know, you can survive all of this, with prayer, hard work, determination. You just have to train your mind, stay positive. But yeah, this is spiritual warfare. Okay? That narcissist is trying to kill you. People kill people all the time. They just don't use a gun, and they're just not charged for it, right? It's hard to call the police and say, this man done did this and did that. They're going to be looking at you like you crazy. You can't prove nothing. So everything, you know, is happening to you, and you just feel awful. I had told somebody, you know, what I was going through with this particular narcissist, and that person used my story against me. They ran and told the narcissist, and the narcissist got to telling them, oh, she's lying. I never even liked her like that. I remember I was at a family outing with this person, and they said all of that in front of their family, and I was just so embarrassed. And I'm just looking at the person. I remember saying, don't ever go and tell my story to that narcissist. And that narcissist is actually paired with a codependent that's a narcissist too. Okay. Honey, that's a story for another day. But yeah, I told him, don't be running back trying to validate my experiences, you know, with these people that don't like me. Because if somebody does not like you, they will lie on you. If they're jealous of you, they will lie on you. Okay? So, you know, that person was just all the way wrong for that. And I remember at that point, I was just so confused. I was like, wow, I thought you said you believed me and my story. Because on another occasion, that person had said, I believe you. And they do all those mean things. You know, that person believed me. When I tell you, we got people in this world, honey, that will flip-flop in a minute. They will turn on you and get cool with your enemies real quick. That's exactly what that person did. And they backstabbed me. after that situation, because I thought I had checked them about that, but yeah, some years later backstabbed me some more and was, talking to those people that hurt and disrespected me. So you really got to watch your back, even with telling people about your narcissistic experience, because a lot of times, they'll use it against you. They'll use it to destroy you, and make you feel worthless, because they like, ooh, she told me, all this happened to her. Let me start doing some of this stuff. You got some really evil, demonic people. And I want to take the time, you guys, to say this before I let the preacher preach, honey. He is preaching a good word, honey, okay? Stop being so impressed by people that have bought nice gifts for you. That's why a lot of times, and I got another video coming up on this, where the preacher talks about that. These people will buy you a lot of material items, high price items that they know that you like, that they know that you want, but they will use that against you and just, buy you nice gifts, disrespect you, really hurt you, set you up, okay? Turn your friends against you. Like, people will really try to hurt you, okay? And really cause you some malicious intent. So, child, please be careful, you guys, with who you share your shame story with, who you share space with. Just be really careful. And I say open up to like a therapist or maybe a close friend that has a good track record. Tony is the person in my life that, he's the person that I really trust. And I know he has my back. When I told Tony my story of narcissistic abuse, he said, I believe you. I know you wouldn't lie about something like this. And that other person, the flip-flop, they was right there with Tony, while I was telling him all of this, and that flip-flop was, yeah, I believe it, and I didn't seen it. Now, the flip-flop seen all the shit that I was saying. They didn't already seen it because they had dealings with the codependent. So they had seen what the narcissist was capable of doing and said they believed me, and then turned on me, honey, because they got mad at me, and then they got to saying, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They a good person, just so... Child, be careful, guys.
You may not even realize it, but you now lack the capacity to actually relate. Mm-hmm. Because you don't trust anymore for obvious reasons. And you put everybody in the same bracket. That narcissist takes and changes your worldview to a place where your worldview is, I'm a victim and the world is my abuser. Mm-hmm. And so you don't trust anybody. That's why you haven't even sought out a therapist, because you don't trust anybody. And the reality is that God will give you people that will come into your life to help rescue you from the grips of this diabolical, demonic individual, and to help rebuild that capacity in you to trust again. Okay, number 5, you develop the idea when you're struggling with narcissistic abuse syndrome, you may develop the idea that it would be better to not be here. Suicide. You may develop the idea that it would be better to not be here. A gentleman by the name of Dr. McKeon, chief of the suicide prevention branch at SAMHSA, whatever that stands for, notes victims of intimate partner violence, which is quite often the case with narcissistic abuse in romantic settings. He says victims of intimate partner violence are twice as likely to attempt suicide multiple times. Understand that this person functions with, in my opinion, a demonic spirit. You got to recognize that. Number 6, you find yourself comparing yourself to others. When you're suffering from narcissistic abuse syndrome, you find yourself comparing yourself to others.
And a lot of times, guys, they will compare you to other people. I told you all in several of my videos that I had a guy comparing me to his ex. And, you know, she get her hair done here. She get her nails done here. And it's like, who cares? Why are you bringing this up? Abuse. Disrespect. Let me get you in competition with her. You're not good enough. And we already know Miss Robinson is more than good enough, honey. Okay? And it don't matter how fine you are. They will compare you to the ugliest woman ever. Okay? Long as she breathing and got a kitty cat, honey. She is your equal. Okay?
Because the narcissist is very skilled in using other people, his or her reference to other people to break your self-esteem down about yourself. So they'll rave over a person and what they look like or what they do or how they behave, and they know that in the back of your mind you're comparing yourself to what they are exclaiming is so great. And you don't realize that they are intentionally getting you to compare yourself to others because they want to rob you of your self-esteem. And what happens is, as they raise these other people up to such a lofty place, simultaneously they'll tell you about what's wrong with you. And so now, subconsciously, you're constantly comparing yourself to others. You're competing with people that are not even in competition with you,
or even on your level.
And you don't know why. You know, you can't even celebrate people anymore. You find yourself now jealous of people. It's because this seed has been planted in your mind. The Bible says in Galatians 1:10, and this is the Amplified, it says, am I now trying to win the favor and approval of men or of God? Or am I seeking to please someone? If I was still trying to be popular with men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. Paul says, I'm not out here trying to win an approval contest of men. I'm trying to please God. When you're suffering from that narcissistic abuse, you'll find yourself constantly competing with people, comparing yourself to people, and not celebrating who you are innately. Number 7, you find yourself seemingly to naturally sabotage every good thing, because the narcissist will program and condition his or her victim to self-destruct. They'll make you believe that nothing good is in you, nothing good will come out of you. And if you accomplish something good, they will punish you for doing something good. So you now develop a fear of doing good. And you fear doing what you love, and you fear achieving success, because now if you've endured this abuse for so long, now you associate achieving and doing good with pain, because the narcissist will make you pay for succeeding. And so now you find yourself postured in a place where you're constantly sabotaging everything good. You start something and you'll stop midstream, or you'll procrastinate until it falls apart, and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with me, and you're not realizing that you've been conditioned by the trauma to sabotage your own success. And then number 8, and finally, you'll find yourself, when you're the victim of narcissistic abuse, you'll find yourself protecting and defending your own abuser. You find yourself minimizing their behavior. It wasn't that bad. You're in the hospital, but it wasn't that bad. You find yourself rationalizing abuse. You'll find yourself taking the blame for things that were not your fault.
First video shoot, so I was a little nervous, just a little bit.
It's beautiful out here, and
I know.
Yeah, I'm glad I made it out here in this rain, though.
Listen, thank you for coming through too to help watch the kids.
Well, I will anytime.
Yes, I appreciate it for real. So yeah, fortunately, I have amazing friends like you, like Destiny, who are super supportive. I got my mom, my family, who's just super supportive and who have my back.
Yeah.
So
always.
that makes it a lot easier. My biggest thing really is the kids. I also wanted to apologize to you for the social media live that Martell did when I left the kids with you for one night.
Right.
And him saying, oh, you know, you talking about leaving my kids to somebody who got one kid who ain't equipped to watch 4 kids.
Yeah.
And so I do want to apologize to you for that because it was out of order.
The reason you find yourself, jumping through these hoops, taking all of this responsibility, minimizing and rationalizing, denying the abuse and all of these kinds of things is because you thought when you met this person that you had met your soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And you bet everything on this individual. You've given this individual everything. You have broken the bank for this individual. And now to come back and realize and to accept that I've been deceived and this person is not what I thought he was or she was, your mind refuses to accept it.
And really quickly, guys, I'm going to play a clip from season 2. And it's from episode 1 where we have Melody. I believe we saw her at the end of season 1 kind of packing up and leaving Martell. You know, she feels like he's just using her and lying to her. And, you know, she knows he's not going to change his behavior. We also saw her embrace her pregnancy, and then it was all of a sudden in season 2, I forgive him and things are so much better. And to me, it was kind of like she was using the pregnancy to stay attached to him. So let's check that out.
No matter how difficult things get in life, is knowing in the back of your mind that, yes, this is happening. However, this is leading to something bigger and greater for me, and I have to stand on that. I don't think anyone gets married with the intention or hope of not staying with the person that you marry. Despite your flaws or your issues, but you know that you love this person. You know that you want to grow old with this person and build a family and build so much with a person. Why wouldn't you want it to work?
Touch my soul, can't let you go.
Okay, so let me just say this. For the people who claim that I was never going to leave Martell, I say, go on and get you a job as a psychic, honey, because you read my mind better than me, because I ain't even know. So if you knew, then you need to be getting paid.
All right, do it slowly. Bring it back out, and then just bring it in slowly.
Okay, you ready? After being together for 13 years, there's no doubt that you have those up, down moments, in love today, out of love tomorrow. But what do you do about it? How do you rekindle? How do you gain that spark back? And that's really what we've been focused on. I have days when I look at him and want to slap him real good.
Well, Be Real's is days that she slaps me really good. Yeah. And again, I am sorry for everything I put you through.
Oh.
And it's real.
And she kisses him.
So, you're happy. I am. I can tell. It's been an uphill climb, though. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, we separated. We had to separate, get some time apart, get some time to think. You know, some days I want to kill him, some days I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I told you wasn't going to get a divorce. I knew it wasn't going to happen.
You didn't know? Yes, I did. So I'm going to file for my divorce.
So no going back this time.
I tell you what, if it looks like I'm giving in, you remind me.
Okay, so that was season 1. By the end of season 1 and by season 2, she was singing a different tune.
You gonna come in the show with me?
Honey, that's that cognitive dissonance, honey. Okay, and we will be taking a look at that as well.
Oh, no. Those times are long gone.
So you back downstairs?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of things on social media.
Oh, hey, listen, we're going to tell Mel, get off that damn social media. What you talking about in
I've seen
particular?
a few posts. with the.
Okay, guys, let's look at the definition of cognitive dissonance. It is the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Okay, so when she went back to him, this is what she had, because she was, betraying herself. She knew better than that. She also, I believe, knew better than to have that baby with him. But a lot of us, we get caught up with the narcissist and how much time we done been with the person. We're married to them. We have children with the person. I get it. But that is where Melody was at.
The psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. It's where you cannot where you cannot make sense of what you see in real life versus what you believe in your head. What you believe to be true compared to what you're actually seeing does not measure up. So what you do is you create a story in your mind to represent what you actually see in real life.
And that's what she did when she got pregnant and when she had that baby. She wanted to repackage their marriage. Look at us, we're expecting. And okay, she was going down the wrong road, the wrong damn road with all of that.
Your subconscious mind has been so broken that now you take a clear negative and dangerous situation, and now you repackage it to suit what the ideal is in your mind.
And even with the getting pregnant, you don't have to kill your baby. She could have kept her baby. She, of course, did. The baby is beautiful. I love that little baby. But she didn't have to be all taking all these photographs with Martell, knowing she wasn't happy with him, just trying to put on this front. See, that was my issue. I think I had, with Melody. It's like, girl, that man did you wrong. You don't need to be all up on him. But see, that's what happens, when you get pregnant. You get really emotional and, you're not really thinking with your logical brain.
So since you said God gave you this individual and this individual is your soulmate and this person proves to be a dangerous, demonic individual in reality, rather than accept that, you find yourself protecting and defending them, covering for them, because you don't want your family and friends to know what you're dealing with. And you don't want to accept it yourself. So rather than accept the truth, you just keep on repackaging this thing in a lie, because you're suffering from a trauma bond. Now, I hope that this shines some light on some of the things that you're dealing with. Now, you can go and you can check out my playlist on Narcissist. In between this individual that I've discovered, the narcissist, and certain particular personality types, or even some might say personality disorders. Number one, a narcissist thrives in a connection with an empath. The narcissist, I dare say, even searches for a person that fits the description, the mold of an empath. An empath is a person that generally puts the needs, feelings, and desires of others ahead of themselves. A narcissist is a person that puts their own personal needs ahead of everyone else. Can you see the connection? An empath puts my needs, his needs, her needs ahead of everyone else. A narcissist puts his personal needs ahead of everyone else. One is giving, one is massively giving, while the other is massively taking. Some of the characteristics of an empath: they're highly sensitive. They absorb other people's emotions. People get sad, they get sad. Some empaths are introverted. Some empaths attract emotional vampires, which a narcissist usually is. They are givers, but often give too much.
And these are the type of people that the narcissist seeks. That way they can have this trauma bond with you.
When an empath meets a narcissist, it's a perfect storm. The empath gives while the narcissist takes until there's nothing left to take. The narcissist moves on to his or her next victim,
Coleslaw.
while the empath is mentally stuck with feelings of failure and unfulfilled possibilities. Now, the trademark, according to Judith Orloff, the trademark of an empath is that they feel and absorb other people's emotions and or physical symptoms because of their high sensitivities.
Okay, really quickly, you guys, I want to read the definition of trauma bonds. Traumatic bonding and trauma bonds occur as a result of ongoing cycles of abuse in which the intermittent reinforcement of reward and punishment creates powerful emotional bonds that are resistant to change. And so that's what happened with Melody and Martell. They were married. He lied. He cheated. She stuck around. He promised to change. He never did. She kept taking him back. So, they were bonded. He behaved for a little bit. He was good to her, for a little bit. You heard her say in one of the clips, things have been getting better with us. It always looked like that, right? So he was hitting her with what we call intermittent reinforcement of reward. Okay. And that's how they get you stuck with them, because it's like, oh, it looked like he go change. I'm getting excited. Okay, I done been there. And then, they'll show you who they really are, honey, okay? Because they can't, their mask always slips. So they'll start back punishing you. You say or do something to piss them off. Y'all make up, and then he doing good again. So he's going to serve you with that intermittent reinforcement. Oh, I'm a good man. I'm buying you stuff. I'm coming home at the right time. This, that, and the third. Okay, and it's back and forth and back. Okay? Trauma bonding is essentially a loyalty between two or more people, which is often formed due to a specific set of negative circumstances which binds them together due to a shared experience. So it could be cheating, lying, to people that come from abusive households. There's some type of trauma. Maybe you were abused by a former partner, then you met a new partner and you told him about it, and then he became the rescuer in your life, and so on and so forth. Okay? All right, you guys, that's all I have to say about all of that. We will have more videos like this, you guys. I really enjoy these particular topics of the trauma bonding, of talking about the narcissist, the codependent, the cognitive dissonance. I like talking about all of that. Don't forget, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. I am your girl, brand new, and I will check you guys out in the next video.